Hello everyone and welcome to the Action Figuratorium. My name is Mark Major. I'm a real big toy collector here in Southeast Portland, and you can actually see the Action Figuratorium there behind me. It is a physical place that contains all of my action figures. I'm kind of the curator of it, you might say. Some of you out there are fans, of course, of Star Wars and collect Star Wars action figures, and of course everybody seems to love the original Star Wars, at least the original trilogy. But there may be some folk out there who at this point are a little bit kind of burnt out. Like, how many more Darth Vaders and Han Solos can they put out and can we collect? Well, today I'm going to talk about a kind of obscure sort of mini line, not mini in terms of the size of the figures, but in terms of like its place in the overall scheme of Star Wars action figures, right? That came out in 2007 as part of a 30th anniversary thing that they did. And what I like about this line is that if you are into the original 1977 Star Wars, i.e. the Star Wars before it was called A New Hope, then this is the kind of thing that you're going to love even more. This is called the Ralph McQuarrie concept action figure line. You see, Ralph McQuarrie was the artist that George Lucas hired to make some sketches and some paintings, some illustrations, with which George could then go around to the movie studios and sort of pitch his idea for Star Wars and have something to actually show them. Ralph McQuarrie, of course, went on to do lots and lots of sketches and designs of characters and ships and environments and all that kind of stuff. And in 2007, what happened was they made action figures based upon these original sketches. So we get some sort of pre-C-3PO, pre-Chewbacca, pre-Stormtrooper looking stuff. Now, I myself have just started kind of collecting these figures as kind of a thing that happened on accident over time. But what I want to do is I want to just show you guys a few of the figures in my collection and see if you've seen any of these and to see if it's something that might excite you, especially since you can get these things on eBay for the super cheap. So everybody come together, strap on the leather, hold on tight. All right, so it is officially brown clothes weather. This hat was the only brown hat I have, and so I had to wear it. I know it looks a bit weird, but I'm from northern Minnesota, and everybody kind of looks like this. Everybody kind of looks like a big drunk Swede, which is, you know, how I describe myself. Let's cut over to our desktop cam, shall we? Because I want to check out some of these Ralph McQuarrie original concept illustrations that he did. Some of these are really kind of cool. Let's check it out. So this is his original, and I don't know if this is the very first one that he made or not, but this is his C-3PO concept and R2-D2, and there's the escape pod on Tatooine behind him there. This is kind of a, it's probably one of the most of the famous of his illustrations that he did. This was the image that actor Anthony Daniels, when he was auditioning, looked at and saw and sort of, you know, made a eye contact with, had a connection, and really decided that he wanted to go for the role. Now I have this action figure, and we're going to go over to the bench. I'm going to show it to you guys there. This figure, this concept, I should say, that Ralph did was really based upon the original Metropolis robot. That is a German film from the silent era, from the 1930s, very Art Deco, and that figure is very kind of famous. And I would love to show you guys this, and let me tell you a little bit about, cut over there, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about how I got this. You see, I started collecting Metropolis action figures. There's one that Mezco makes. There's some indie ones. There's one called a Bionica. I have all these, and this cat is sort of a very interesting dog. They did a very good job of making it look like the illustration. Essentially, it's weird though. It's got these like curved feet on it. They're not flat, they're curved, but it does stand up. And it's this very nice kind of gold color. Now, if you guys want some kind of a reference, I have the reaction version. I know some people don't like Super 7, and I'm in that group. However, if you're going to collect Metropolis figures, you're going to have to get this one. So this is the Super 7 reaction version of, I believe the character's name that in the movie is called Maria, I think it is, which is probably a play on Mary, sort of like the Mother Mary, that kind of thing. Now, the reason why I got this C-3PO is because I was collecting these Metropolis figures, and of course this Ralph McQuarrie drawing, illustration, painting is done sort of as a tribute to the Metropolis figure, Metropolis character, and so I had to have it. And this is the very first one that I got, and you can see that they're kind of a nice pair. They're sort of a, maybe kind of a husband-wife sort of thing. I don't know. There's a bit of androgyny with C-3PO. You know how it goes, that kind of thing. Now let's look at the next sort of figure that I have and the artwork that it comes from. This is another illustration painted piece from McQuarrie, and you can see there is this is supposed to be the heroes here in the background there, and there's their the original pirate ship when it was just kind of this long thing, not the Millennium Falcon. It's back there, and then here are stormtroopers, right? And what he did is, like, this is very early on, and it wasn't that Jedi had lightsaber, it was kind of like everybody had a lightsaber, and he actually gave these guys shields like they were kind of a space knight. And I don't mean Rom the Space Knight, although maybe I did mean Rom the Space Knight. So this is the original sort of concept of the stormtroopers. They were just kind of these sort of armored knights in space. And let's cut over and I'll show you what the figure looks like. This is not them. Get out of here, guys. You're cut. This is what Hasbro was able to come up with, this guy. Now, I got this dude loose in a bag of action figures, a lot of Star Wars action figures, and he was just in there. I did not have his shield, right? The shield is lost, the sword is lost, and I didn't get the gun. But what they tried to do is make it look as much like the illustration as they can. I do have a lightsaber that can go in his hand, so, you know, he can sort of hang out and he can duel whoever he needs. But it should be known that if you're into stormtroopers and collecting stormtrooper figures, you should probably have this guy, because he is the proto-stormtrooper. He's the stormtrooper. He is the stormtrooper before there was actual stormtroopers. All right, we're going to go to the last figure that I have, and we're going to go to the last of these illustrations that I'm going to use to show you kind of before and after of the artwork and the figure that came out. Now this is a collection of who the heroes were at first. Now originally, when George Lucas was writing the script, there was several drafts, and some of these early drafts, it did not have a Luke Skywalker in it. It had this girl, right? And it had Han Solo, who was very sort of Flash Gordon looking, right? And his co-pilot Chewbacca, and of course the two droids. There's a Death Star up here, and there's, you know, he had Y-wings at that time. So this is a very early concept, pre-Luke Skywalker. Actually, when he did come up with the Luke Skywalker character, his name was called Luke Starkiller, and didn't actually change the name until they were shooting in England, in which Mark Hamill ran into the detention center and he says, "I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm here to rescue you." He was still called Luke Starkiller in the script. Now, what's interesting about the Chewbacca here, right, that you guys should know, was that, and I'm actually at a website that everybody who loves the original Star Wars should go to. It's called kitbashed.com. Kitbashed.com. And originally what happened was there was these kinds of concepts for Chewbacca. You see where he's kind of this sort of kind of a hairy dude with a kind of a weird, almost kind of a Yoda head, right? Some different examples of him. But then our guy George, he handed Ralph a drawing, and he said, make it more like this. And so here's a quote from Ralph. He says, George also gave me a drawing he liked from a 1930s illustrator of science fiction that showed a big ape-like furry beast with a row of female breasts down its chest. So I took the breasts off and added a bandolier and ammunition and weapons, changed its face, so it looked more like the final character, and I left it at that. Now, here is the concept art that he handed to Ralph, that George handed to Ralph, and it's actually not from the 30s. Ralph is lying, and the reason why he's lying is because they do not want to get sued, right? But in fact, this is actually from a copy of a science fiction magazine called Analog, and it comes from July of 1975. Remember, they started actually filming principal photography in 1976, so this cover came out a year before Star Wars started filming, and this was the original idea that George had for Chewbacca, just kind of this, like a porcupine man, I would say. He was kind of a porcupine man, and then of course you can see how Ralph changed him into what we know as Chewbacca today. But we should take a look at the figure, because I think that this is kind of the most fun, is how these guys become action figures. Cut back over, walk over to the bench. And this one I haven't technically opened yet. I have it in the package, right? You can see there. Let me back it up just a little bit. Okay. So this new in pack like this, and you can see how big it is. And there's a cross cell on the back, and there's of course a self-portrait of Ralph. Very interesting, very cool package. You see how it's not just square. They've done all these sort of 45-degree angles and cuts. Probably some new technology came out in terms of what you can do with packaging. Comes with a coin, comes with that weapon. And this was like $9 and change on eBay, brand new in the pack. And most of the figures, if you're looking for them, either on the card or loose, are about that price, around the $10 range. It seems that nobody wants these, because of course, why would you? They weren't in the movie. They're just in this guy's proto illustrations. But I think that this is actually, in my opinion, I think that this is kind of ultra cool in a way, because it is sort of Star Wars before Star Wars. It's a way to get a Han Solo, a Chewbacca, and of course there is like a Luke figure in there as well that they made for concepts. Stormtroopers, there's a great looking Darth Vader. I plan to get all of those figures, and I plan to make more videos showing them off, the before and after of the concepts and how Hasbro is able to tackle it. I think that these are really interesting figures to have, because they are Star Wars, and yet they're not Star Wars, are they? They didn't end up in the final film per se. They're a little bit different, and to me, I think that makes them just a little bit sort of more interesting than you might think. But of course, they're also super dirt cheap. You could probably get all of them. You know, there's probably a guy who's got the entire set of them for probably $50 or so, and I recommend people get that. But let me get them first so that the price stays where it is. Thanks to everybody who made it this far into the video. Of course, liking, subscribing. YouTube wants me to push that, so I'll push that. But you people, you do whatever you want. However, everybody out there needs to stay charged.